The setting is a vast, scorching landscape in the heart of rural America, a place where the soil is rich, shadows stretch long, and old customs die hard. This is the world of Barrington Farm, an immense agricultural operation specialized in crops and, more disturbingly, in control. Our protagonist is Lena Hayes, a woman in her 20s, hands calloused from labor, but with a spirit that refused to be broken. She was intelligent, educated, and had arrived in the Barrington area with a degree in agricultural science, hoping to use her knowledge to build a better life. But the only job she could find was at Barrington Farm, and the moment she stepped onto the property, her hopes were crushed under the weight of archaic power. The antagonist is Elias Barrington, the farm's owner and patriarch. Elias was a man carved from granite and disdain. In his 60s, his face was permanently fixed in a scornful smile of superiority. In his mind, it was still 1850. He saw his workers, especially Lena, not as employees but as property, tools to be used, exhausted, and discarded. His prejudice wasn't subtle. It was a foundation of his entire operation. Elias had a particular and twisted focus on Lena. Because she was black, and because she carried herself with a certain defiant intelligence, he was determined to break her. He saw her competence as a challenge to his absolute authority and was obsessed with proving to her and to himself that she was nothing more than a servant on his land. The gripping hook of this story isn't a single incident, but an unrelenting pattern of psychological and physical degradation that defined every day of Lena's life on the farm. Elias literally treated her like a slave. The unwritten rules of Barrington Farm, the chains, Lena's job, was structured to ensure maximum control and zero freedom. 1. The cabin. She was forced to live in a dilapidated cabin at the far edge of property, miles from town, ensuring her isolation. Conditions were miserable, no running water, sporadic electricity. She was charged rent that consumed a quarter of her meager, below minimum wage salary. 2. The schedule. Lena's workday began before sunrise and often ended long after sunset. While other, whiter workers had set shifts, Elias imposed deliberately grueling and endless tasks on Lena, hand-weeding the hardest fields under the midday sun, cleaning pens at 3 a.m., and serving as an unpaid personal housekeeper in Elias's main house. 3. The debt. Elias was a master of financial manipulation. Any delay in her work, any perceived attitude, or even a momentary pause to drink water resulted in a fine, a wasted time deduction, or a charge for property damage. He kept meticulous ledgers, often claiming she owed him money at month's end. Leaving her too terrified to leave for fear, he would call the police on a debtor. 4. Verbal abuse. Elias never used her name. He referred to her only as girl, maid, or other degrading insults that stripped her identity. He constantly reminded her that she was lucky to have a job on good white land, and that her kind belonged in the dirt. This was psychological torture, a relentless assault on her self-esteem. 5. The locked bathroom. The cruelest and most humiliating act was the bathroom policy. In the main house, where she was forced to work late, Elias kept the staff bathroom locked. She was often forced to wait hours or use an improvised toilet in the woods, a deliberate act of degradation, reminding her that her basic human needs were beneath his consideration. The spark of defiance. The turning point. Lena endured this existence for nearly 6 months, driven by the desperate hope of saving enough money to get her mother out of a precarious living situation. She was a master of self-control, channeling her anger into quiet, methodical work. But she was also an agricultural science graduate. She understood systems. She understood data. And she had a secret. Every night, under the dim light of a battery-powered lamp in her cabin, Lena used a small prepaid smartphone, hidden inside a hollowed-out dictionary, to document everything. She wasn't writing fiction. She was writing facts. She meticulously logged her hours, illegal 16-hour shifts, unpaid overtime. She photographed the misery of her living quarters, broken safety equipment, and locked staff bathroom. She used the phone's audio recorder to capture Elias's racist tirades and financial threats. Most importantly, she used a GPS logging app to track her movements around the farm, proving she worked at times the company's payroll system claimed she didn't, building an airtight, precise study of her servitude. One sweltering afternoon, Elias ordered Lena to clean the grain silo, a dangerous, unnecessary task clearly designed to keep her out of sight. While working, she overheard him on the phone with a major corporate distributor, bragging about his low labor costs and loyal help. The words loyal help hit her like a stone. He was building his empire on her suffering. That night, Lena didn't just log her hours. She sent a single encrypted package containing 6 months of meticulously compiled evidence, time records, GPS data, audio clips, and photos, to a legal aid organization known for taking on complex labor exploitation cases. She didn't hire a lawyer. She submitted a case study. The hammer falls, the confrontation. 2 weeks later, on a scorching Tuesday, Lena was in the packing barn, covered in dirt, trying to take a quick sip of water before Elias noticed. The farm's main gate swung open, and 2 black SUVs with official-looking plates entered the property, parking not near the office, but directly by the packing barn. From the first SUV emerged 2 people, a sharp, no-nonsense labor investigator from the state and a tall, formidable black woman in a power suit. Lena's new attorney, Ms. Vivian Cole. Elias stormed out his office, face purple with rage at the unexpected intrusion. What the hell is this? This is private property. Get off my land now. Ms. Cole didn't flinch. She simply walked toward him, holding a thick manila folder. Mr. Barrington, I am Ms. Cole. I represent Ms. Lena Hayes. We are here to serve you with a federal lawsuit for wage theft, forced labor, and civil rights violations. Elias scoffed, glancing from the well-dressed attorney to Lena, dirt-covered and resolute. That girl can't sue me. She owes me money. She's my help. She has no standing. The labor investigator stepped forward, holding a legal document. The state is also notifying you, Mr. Barrington. We have a warrant to seize all payroll records, time-tracking data, and housing ledgers on this property, based on overwhelming evidence of systemic labor violations. Ms. Cole leaned closer, her voice dropping to a controlled, dangerous whisper. Mr. Barrington, we have 6 months of GPS data, audio recordings of your racial epithets, and documented proof that you forced Ms. Hayes to work 100 hours per week for below minimum wage, while charging her rent for a building deemed uninhabitable by county standards. This is not a dispute. This is an indictment. You did not employ her. You enslaved her. She looked directly at the terrified man. And as of this moment, Ms. Hayes is a protected witness and no longer working for you. She is leaving with us. You may not speak to her or approach her, or you'll be immediately arrested for witness intimidation. Elias was utterly defeated. His face, usually a mask of presumptuous power, crumbled into pale, terrified comprehension. The quiet, compliant girl he had abused had meticulously documented his downfall. The tool he tried to break became the instrument of his ruin. Ms. Cole turned to Lena, still standing in the dirt, water bottle slipping from her hand. Lena, you're free to go. We're taking you straight into town. Everything is resolved. That day, Lena left Barrington Farm not just an attorney, but with the full weight of the law behind her. She did not look back. The chains of Elias's prejudice and abuse were shattered by the quiet, meticulous rebellion she had waged with a hidden smartphone and an unyielding will to survive. The subsequent lawsuit became historic. Elias Barrington lost not only his reputation but his farm, confiscated to pay decades of illegally withheld wages and fines, including a massive punitive settlement to Lena Hayes. The echoes of the past that haunted Barrington Farm were finally silenced, replaced by the resounding sound of justice, delivered by the very woman he had tried to treat as property. Lena went on to become an advocate for rural workers, using the wealth gained from her case to ensure no one else would endure the humiliation she suffered on that brutal, sun-scorched land. Her story became a chilling lesson. True power does not come from oppression, but from the unwavering resolve of the oppressed to document and demand their freedom. Se quisser, posso tambum crier uma verso endeme cinematographica ing zuda, perfida para ser lida como synopsis thriller ou desriqueo de video. Mantendo impacto dramatico, io aplo emotional. Quer que eu faca?